Officials have said more of the 27 people on board a whale-watching boat that sank off the coast of Western Canada could have died had it not been for the amazing response from locals. All 5 of the British people killed have now been named. An Australian man is still missing after the accident, which happened near Tofino on Vancouver Island on Sunday afternoon. The BBC's James Cook reports from there.
In the still moments of an autumn dawn, it is hard to imagine anywhere more peaceful. It is difficult to understand how these quiet Canadian waters could have claimed so many lives. But the truth is, the sea is never truly benign, not even when it looks like this. Among those who drowned were 18-year-old Stephen Thomas from Swindon in southwest England. His father David, who was 50, died with him. Julie Thomas survived the accident, which killed her husband and her son, who had Down syndrome.
He was really, really nice young man, actually. Quite cheeky, quite chirpy, but really, really, really good ambassador for people with Down syndrome.
Also dead, 76-year-old Jack Slater, who was born in Greater Manchester but lived in Toronto. His wife survived. 29-year-old Katie Taylor, who was living in the Canadian resort town of Whistler, also drowned. So too did Nigel Hooker, who was from Southampton.
Well, obviously our sympathies and condolences with all the families and friends who've been affected by this. It's a really tragic event, and it's shocking. It's affected the community here. It's affected them.
What happened to the Leviathan 2 is still not clear. Investigators say they cannot confirm whether a freak wave capsized the boat.
Divers have gone onto the vessel, so we know that it is possible to salvage it.
But it's still at least partially submerged?
That's correct. It's partially submerged, so it needs to be brought up to the complete surface and pumped out, and then brought to another area where our investigators can conduct further work.
And the search for a 6th victim, an Australian man, continues. But this is now a recovery operation, not a rescue. The passengers were not required to wear life jackets.
From what we know at this stage, it appears that the incident happened so quickly the crew didn't have an opportunity to send out a mayday. We have learnt that the crew was able to access emergency flares that are part of the safety equipment on board the boat and deployed them from the water.
The people of Tofino saw those flares, and as word flashed around the little community that a boat was in trouble, everyone who could took to the water to help.
I seen the life raft with some people in there waving their hands, and the guy was directing me over there. There's people in the water. There's people in the water.
What happened here on Sunday has become a little clearer, but the survivors and the families of the dead still have many more questions than answers.
More questions and answers indeed. Let's try and find out a little bit more from James, who's with us now. And James, I think there is a bit more of a picture emerging about those people who were on the boat as it sank.
Yes, that's right, Daniela. I mean, not really full answers to those questions that the relatives and survivors have by any means. And indeed, the lead investigator says that it could be many months before a completely full picture of what happened is available. But we have been told by the authorities here in British Columbia in the past couple of hours that the survivors of this incident, of this sinking, were actually in an enclosed area of the boat when it went down, and those who died were on the open deck. Now, that's an interesting piece of information, because some people had assumed before that point that it was perhaps the other way around, that people might have been trapped on the boat, but that does not now seem to have been the case. So that's the latest information we have, but we still don't know exactly why the boat sank in the first place. The conditions were said to be relatively calm, although this area about 8 miles offshore here is known for having currents, potentially difficult waves, even when the conditions look otherwise fine. So we're still really waiting to hear whether this report that a freak wave pushed the boat over is correct, but at the moment the investigators say they can't confirm that.
Okay, James, thank you. It does indeed look deceptively calm there where you are. Thank you.